Hello there YouTubers, and welcome to a Minecraft Let's Build Some Big Oak Trees moment. I have kept this video to 15 minutes, so wherever I finish here, it'll be uploaded in a 15-minute segment, give or take a few seconds. But I'm going to be demonstrating here how to build effectively a big oak tree in a fast period of time. And right now I started with 4 oak saplings on top of a tall oak bark square. And right now what I'm doing is putting a ring of dirt around, and I'm going to plant some saplings around that to spread out the leaves. This saves some time in having to put leaves in to make the tree more girth-like. So doing that, it saves time. You may be asking, I'm using a potion of swiftness too, so that it goes a little quicker. I haven't sped up any part of this video. I believe maybe on the last tree that I do on this video I'll speed it up a little bit, but for this sake, or this demonstration, I'm showing you in real time how fast it is to make one of these pretty decent sized trees. If you have big builds on your world, you want the trees to match the scale of those builds. And this world is a particular case, because I believe the average size of the houses or the stores on this world are about 30 by 30. That's pretty big, especially if you compare it right next to a NPC village, which are like no more than 10 by 10 at the biggest. Anyways, this will help keep the scale in line, because you could have the best builds on your world, but if you don't have the right scale, forget it. It won't look correct in its place. I'm more a realistic type person anyway, who decides to keep his worlds as realistic as possible. So, as best you can in the Minecraft, I'll do that. Here I'm adding a little bit of branches to the equation, because it looks stale if you have a big long stem out of the ground of bark without any differentiation in the look. But of course you don't want to go too overboard with it either. You want to do maybe a couple of sides, and then of course adding in a little bit more girth on the bottom to make it look like it has roots growing out. It's a healthy tree, a tree worthy of living in my world for many years to come. Hopefully I won't have to delete this tree anytime soon. But there's always room for improvement too. I'm sure some of you guys out there might actually have better methods than this. But I figured, I'll share a method that seems to be pretty quick for me. It's a pretty decent size. You also may be asking, this video's quality in comparison to other videos' qualities are much higher. Well, they are much higher because I've decided to change to a new video capture. I'm using a Pinnacle white box video capture. It outputs directly from the Xbox. I had to purchase the Xbox VGA cables, and it goes right into that box, which then goes by USB into the computer. And that's how I'm getting this video right now. It's not a video capture card per se, but it's close enough. The quality is much better than the videos I was putting up. I know some people urged me to quit while I was ahead because of that quality, but I know there are many better YouTubers out there than even me. They're earning their keep, and they deserve the views they get. I'm speaking of those other Minecrafters who I even follow. They deserve the views they get. They have the right quality videos, and they cut out parts. And of course most of them are also PC users. I don't see too many people doing Xbox 360 on YouTube. I guess it's because it's so limited, but Xbox at least is probably what PC was a year and a half ago at this point. I'm recording it on July 16th, 2014. Anyways, as you can see here, I'm already starting on my next tree, and I gotta get rid of that dirt, unless of course you can overcover that dirt with leaves. But what I'm doing here, I'm trying to line up the centers. Sometimes you have to make the bark center in a different location because you have one tree on one side that happens to grow bigger than on the other sides. So I'm trying to make up that compensation by doing that, by centering the location. It actually looks neat doing it this way because it makes your tree look even bigger than what you originally intended. But then it does take a little bit more covering in because the big trees, you have those spaces in between the trees. Those spaces look inconsistent with the rest of the tree, so I have to end up filling in those spaces to make up that difference. Who wants a tree that looks like it has tons of caterpillars eating out of it, or worms, moths? I know I had one such tree a long time ago. It was an apple tree. Funny enough, Minecraft, your oaks produce apples. Isn't that something? It must be a miracle that your oaks can produce apples. Anyways, like I said, this is the best method I can come up with right now with making these trees in this style. And the first tree, I believe, probably did take about 4 or 5 minutes, but it's well worth it. Because you know what you're doing, as long as you plant it correctly. I'm trying to go as fast as I possibly can with this tree. That's why I use that Swiftness 2 potion. And, well, I just like to show off my world too while I'm at it. You can see some of the world around here. I haven't shown it since almost 3/4 of a year ago now. It's probably been 9 months. Well, you see with the last video. And of course that last video I recorded probably a month in advance before uploading it. So now we're into this, and I'm gonna upload it the same day I recorded it, just so that it's up to perspective. And over time, if you love a game that you play so often, eventually you begin to improve even more so. And with my landscaping, that's the one thing I have a passion for on Minecraft, is the landscaping. That might be because most people don't have a passion for that. They like just the builds instead. But your builds are only as good as your property. At least that's what I would say. That your builds depend on what's on your property, what's surrounding your property, and it increases the land values. To have a nice forest, to have a healthy set of trees that are big and they look like they're 40 years old. You might be wondering, what's that music playing in the background? Boy, do I have the story for you on that. Don't think it's all easy trying to convert files, because it isn't. Even if it says so on the when you search with the search engine. The first 2 programs I had, both of them, the songs I got off of my Yamaha, right? Well, the Yamaha keyboard only has it in MIDI format. But MIDI format isn't recognized in most computer programs, including VLC. It's not recognized in that. It does recognize it in Media Player, Windows Media Player, but the problem with that is it doesn't convert it. So I had to find a program that converted. The first 2 I chose online, it said media to MP3, which is what I was looking for primarily, because Studio does not recognize MIDI at all, and apparently it doesn't even recognize MP3, as I found out. But what happened, MP3 converter and media converter, MIDI, the MIDI converters, the first 2 didn't even show an option for the MIDI. even though it said it on the website. I was not too happy about that. It's kind of like false advertising. And of course, the very first one I tried, it was kind of a risk anyway, because they said that most of the files didn't work, a good portion. But I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot since it was the first one on the page. It turns out then, in the end, I used NCH switch. It's called like switch converter, and it does the job. I couldn't do it to MP3. Apparently it doesn't recognize with Studio, Pinnacle Studio, but it will recognize with WAV files. So I was able to get some of this music using the converter. I, of course, it's all my music. It's what I got from playing on the piano. I've taken piano for many years, from 3rd grade to 12th grade. And very happy to have the opportunity to make some music. I know you saw some music on Mario Paint, and that's sort of my passion, to have Mario Paint music, but it's so limited. At least now that I'm getting used to this Yamaha, I think it's a 535. It's an 88 key keyboard. I've been able to record some music of my own without having to use someone else's materials. And I hope you enjoyed the music. It took some time though, like I said. I think it took me a good hour to finally find the right program, and it does take surprisingly, making a 16 to 20 KB file, 20,000 bytes that is, up to 11 meg takes a long time. It actually probably takes 5 minutes to do one file, but I'll probably use them throughout, and I've already converted all the ones for YouTube. I have about 20 of them. I'm also thinking of putting out some nostalgia videos in the foreseeable future. I'll start off with the raw videos. I'm sure a few people who have seen my world so many times will appreciate those, but it's not meant to be completely entertaining. It's meant to be more nostalgia moment, even for my own reference guide. But you know, it's one of those lazy type videos. I'm not doing anything but walking around, not building anything, just admiring the views. But even from that, I'll eventually do a condensed version where I'll do some before and after shots of the map. Because the maps I have for the Xbox 360, I've had, like with Clearington, my main map, who knew that there could be some entertainment from before and after shots? Well, I'm going to take condensed video from the raw video and put some before and after moments. My Clearington map is from May 25th of 2012, and you haven't seen Donsonville. I've never shown Donsonville on the other videos of the past, and that's my first world from the second day this game came out, because the first day I was all on the Friends worlds, but the second day on May the 10th I decided to make that world, and I still have it. I have another one for May the 10th, and then of course May the 25th, followed by, I keep most of my maps old. I hardly ever start a new map because you know how boring that can get. My medieval world is from the following next year. I'll be showing some before and after shots of that. This world that I'm on now is called Fellowship, and I had this map since the 1.6. 1.6, imagine that. But I left it largely untouched. I did do a little bit of work on it in survival, but then once Creative 1.8 beta came out, I decided to go with Creative only for this world. But the problem is I never explored it all, so there were parts of this world that had chunk errors. It won't take too long to fix that those chunk errors. I hope you enjoyed watching, and be sure to comment and like if you do like it, and if you don't, just be honest about it, why you don't like it. I know maybe it might not be your taste, But I hope you enjoyed this.